In order to make and induce reality to pay attention to us, to respond to us, instead of forcing us to be in a reactive mode where we are reacting to outward conditions, you have to understand the concept of an informed field. An informed field is an actual construct. It is a biomathematical construct that is real, and you create it by thinking about something and then wishing for it to come to pass, and then actually doing something in the physical medium of the simulacrum, because that's the only thing it responds to. A person in a hospital bed who is staring at a television day after day, wishing they could walk, won't walk again. It's not going to happen. But a person who sits up from their bed and tries to move their legs and tries to do it after a period of time, it can very well happen. I'm not going to say it's going to happen in every instance. There are instances in our lives where we're so beaten down there is no recovery. But most of us aren't there yet. Most of us are still within the realm of being able to produce informed fields that the simulacrum will respond to. We get beat up when we start wearing this baggage that we can never do anything again. We break our leg and we feel that we can never again have full mobility of that leg. That suspicion creates an informed field. That informed field will carry forth the information into the next day of whatever empowered that informed field the day before. That's how simple it is. And if the negativity is produced in that way the next day, based off the negativity that was existing the present day, then the inverse is also true. If you were to positively believe that something was going to happen for you tomorrow or in the near future, true belief creates an informed field. And that informed field is empowered because true belief modifies behavior. You can't say that you truly believe something if in the physical world you have not done any follow-throughs. You understand where I'm going with this? You can create informed fields, but in order to empower them to get the simulacrum to knit into a physical reality, you've got to do a follow-through. Now, I'm not a Christian, and there's reasons for that. But there's nothing in the teachings of Jesus I disagree with. Nothing. And one of the things that I was very, very, very interested in is over and over and over, he was very, very clear. You have to understand, many times in the New Testament, and Christians today all talk about faith. Faith this and faith that, and faith have, you know what? Faith ain't shit, according to Jesus. Because he specifically said, faith without works is dead. He could have easily said, an informed field without a follow-through is dead. But he couldn't have spoke to the people that way at that time. They did not have any frames of reference for what an informed field is. An informed field is a ghost protocol. It is a mathematical construct packed full of information of what something should be like, what something should feel like, what something should look like. That's what an informed field is. It hasn't actually happened in actuality, but there is so much belief in the generator of that informed field that informed field will come to pass, that the generator himself or herself actually starts doing physical acts as if it is already true. And because those physical actions are also the generation of more informed fields that reinforce the ghost protocol informed field, the simulacrum can't discern the difference. We are immortal beings suspended within an information hologram. The simulacrum responds to informed fields, does not respond to emotion, does not respond to intent, does not respond to wishes. It responds to what is happening inside of it. Remember, it can't read your thoughts. It can read your cortisol levels, it can read your endorphin levels, and if all of a sudden it's reading endorphin spikes, and the simulacrum, the language of the simulacrum is informed fields, not your vocabulary. There's nothing out of your mouth in any language in the world that can cause the simulacrum to do anything. Nothing. There is no emotion that you can feel that can make it do anything. But if you build a picture of your mind, because your mind is immortal, it is ancient, and it is powerful, and it is immersed and saturated, completely surrounded by the simulacrum. And if that mind is building a picture, the simulacrum can feel it. It can anticipate it. It knows something is being built. If it starts reading the endorphin levels, then it understands that, oh, well, something is happening. Something must be true because this immortal here is excited, is happy, is confident. Then the simulacrum interprets what you're doing physically. Whatever you're doing physically, it reads as a language. It knows what your intent is. It can make thousands of calculations, guesses, interpolations, guesstimations within a nanosecond. It's way ahead of us. But the simulacrum is not going to be a liar. If something is assumed to be true by an immortal immersed within it, and that immortal creates an informed field by basically fantasizing it into a very elaborate picture in their mind, then that immortal must follow through on that informed field and act. This is what Jesus meant. Faith without works is dead. All the faith in the world will never save you, never save your kids, will never save anyone. You've got to follow through. And that follow through must be something in the physical world. It can't be mental, because all you're doing is adding to the informed field. We live in a quantum universe, and the simulacrum is based off quantum physical principles. Those quantum principles mandate for an informed field to actually produce something in the physical world. There must be what is called quantum collapse. Quantum collapse is the generation of an informed field and then a physical act that follows. The simulacrum instantly understands that there's a trajectory happening. It may not know how far or what direction you're going or what you're actually trying to accomplish, but there's a momentum, there's a trajectory, and a reality tunnel is instantly knit into existence, and you're in it. You have now created something. Now, it can die a minute later by doubt, by you not moving in a certain direction anymore. It can. But a reality tunnel's death is an instant. It's like a ghost protocol. It hangs around for a while, at least until the next time you're jacked into the simulacrum through the central nervous system and you go into REM sleep. And while you're in sleep, that's when the simulacrum can go in your mind and read your brain, read all your neural pathways. It can explore and try to figure out what's going on with you and knit the necessary reality tunnels that'll be existing in your life the next day. It doesn't know which ones you're going to choose. It just knows that these are your options based off your past acts. So, this is how, in prison, I acquired some of the oldest, difficult, rare to find books. If I was free, I could have never found these books. It's because they were brought to me. People who were free, who just talked to somebody who knew me and was a pen pal of mine. And then all of a sudden, they just had the thought that, well, I got these old books in my library. Let me send them a list right here. And then 6 months later, that person remembers that I was in prison and sends me the list. It's uncanny. It is so uncanny. Informed fields that are acted on, they'll last for a long time. But when quantum collapse occurs, they manifest in your reality instantly. That's what quantum collapse is. We create informed fields every single day, every moment of every day, and we create multiple timelines, fractured timelines, and reality tunnels every single day. This is why every single moment of our existence is pregnant with possibility. You feel this when you get out of your car and you walk into a supermarket. You feel it. It's on the edge of your mind that something different could happen this time while you walk down the aisles. You may see someone or experience something different. But there's always that nagging that you've done this 2,000 times before in your life and nothing's ever going to change. When that depression that sits in, that monotony sets in, that reality tunnel is reinforced. Quantum collapse has happened for you so many times, and there's been no change, that it continues that. It's called stasis. Stasis is exactly where the simulacrum tries to drive everyone, because it requires more energy output to try to figure out what an immortal is trying to do within it than it does guiding the hive-minded, guiding the collective. This is why those of us who are thinkers, those of us who are doers, live totally different dynamic lives than the rest of us, those around us. The simulacrum is always knitting new and interesting experiences, trying to corral us into some type of definable existence, one that can be controlled or anticipated. Remember, I have a video called Breaking Pattern. I'm giving you the secret in that video of what you have to do. It doesn't matter what your life is. Remember, the selfless act of an instant can undo an entire lifetime of guilt. The reason is not because the one selfless act is so selfless that it undoes a whole lifetime of evil. That's not what's happening here. We're dealing with informed fields. That's what we're dealing with. If a person has done bad all their life, at the very end of their life, if they just make a conscious decision, hey man, you know what? This didn't work out for me. I was a piece of shit. I was no good. I hurt all these people. I have not done anything in my life. That admission, if it is genuine, if it is sincere, and not predicated on a fear of what's going to happen in the afterlife. Believe me, deathbed conversions are real. But the only deathbed conversions are real are those where the individual isn't worried about the consequences of what's going to happen on the other side. They're genuinely distressed about the life they've lived. In those situations, one person can create an informed field, emotionally charged, so powerful that they can undo an entire lifetime of guilt. Now, I don't know what that does for them on the other side, but I'm not a religionist anymore. So I don't believe that this grand scale exists that weighs that way. I don't believe that the true oversoul measures people by the amount of bad and good. I just don't see that. To me, it is very adolescent. It is very immature way of looking at true spirituality. Because I believe with true spirituality, we have to tread through dark places to find the light. And in treading through those dark places, I believe the oversoul has taken into consideration that we're going to adopt the language of that darkness as we make that journey. If I'm going to cross the river Styx, I have to talk to the ferryman, Death, in a language that he will understand in order for me to get to the other side. I don't believe the oversoul is the religionist concept that has been foisted upon me all of my life. I'm through believing that. My life has not unfolded in that way. And as a Southern Baptist Christian all my life, I know for a fact that did not work for me. Prayer and fasting, and I now know the truth. And the truth for me, as an immortal individual, is that the prayer of desperation will always create an informed field that will perpetuate whatever is being prayed against. That's powerful. That is dynamic, and it is dangerous. And it tells me that the church is an enemy because they promote that. And over in my life, I have seen that the prayer of desperation only continues what people are being desperate about. I have never seen otherwise. What I have seen are people who have been fed up and decided, you know what? I'm done. I'm done with that. I'm going to do things my way. I'm going to do things my way. Cuss God out. I've seen this. I've done it myself. Believe me, I have called God everything but a child of God. I have gone off. I have been in a prison cell and I've raged and I just poured my heart out to God, and I'm telling you now, it wasn't a prayer. I could not say the things on YouTube that I said to God. And after that, I felt such a cleansing. I felt such a closeness with the Oversoul. I felt things that I had never felt when I was a Christian. I know that God is so vast that 10,000 different opinions about him can all be right and not one of them be contrary to another. We're talking about something that is undefinable, an oversoul that is created in a universe that is so beautiful and so perfect that it requires us to live through a series of false universes in order for us to build the architecture of our eternal personalities before we're given the chance to enter it. This is the God that I have come to realize. As a student of the Gnosis, I realize that God is unknown inside the construct. And that is why inside this construct, we only approach the idea of the Oversoul through parables, through similes, never directly. The greatest teachings are in parables, because parables are images of truth. They're not the truth. They're copies of it, just like the Simulacrum is a copy of a real universe, one that we yet cannot attain. But we're building our personalities in order to basically be admitted into that citizenship, because the Oversoul is patient. Does not matter how much you have done while you treaded through the swamps of darkness of this life, because it understands that in going through the garbage, you're going to collect a lot of it. This is why in eschatology there is fires of purification. That's not to burn you up into hellfire. That's to burn away all the dross that the Simulacrum is attached to you. Because the Oversoul is understanding, and it knows in order for you to trek through a jungle, you're going to get dirty. It's as simple as that. And while you're doing it, though, you have great latitude to decide your own fate in the personal, no matter what the collective is going through. Some of you are really distressed about the Phoenix phenomenon. It was never my intent to be a fearmonger, but I have to present the information as I have it. It is harrowing, but it's harrowing for the collective. The individual is not subject to anything the individual does not want to be subject to. In every single vicious atrocity, the invasion of the Huns, Genghis Khan, the invasion of Iran by the Khans, the invasion of Europe by the Huns, these atrocities, the Battle of Teutoburg Force between basically the Germans and the Romans, these great epic battles like the Battle of Kuroksata in 1879 BC, the East against the West, one of the last battles that giants were actually involved in. Yes, I'll do a video on the battle. I already know some of y'all are interested. Y'all want that video on the Battle of Kuroksata. It's the great war of ancient times, and it was the last war in recorded history where giants were directly involved on both sides. So, who you are has everything to do with your ability to insulate yourself from the chaos around you.